Call it okay? Hi guys, my name is Nicolas. I am a junior in mechanical engineering. I am the current new member representative for our chapter, and I'm running for the president of our organization. All right, so first of all, I'm going to list 3 things that the president of SHPE needs to excel at. Leadership experience, being able to communicate well with others, and being result-driven. So for leadership, this is not my first time running for a presidential position. I'm actually currently the president of the Promise Action Committee, which oversees all the engineering organizations underneath the Promise umbrella, which includes SHPE, MIAS, SWE, all of those, right? So I've experienced working with the undergraduate college, or the undergraduate programs, and working with the Promise program, and working with different subcommittees, which are the organizations. That parallels to working with the regional team, and working with the different committees that our chairs have. For networking, I have a really strong regional presence. I've gotten to know a lot of the members of the region, whether they be from UT, UT El Paso, A&M. I've gotten to know a lot of the members, and I have a very strong connection to the regional team. So I believe that that will help us grow as a chapter and make our image much greater. Lastly, like I said, I'm very result-driven. As new member representative this year, I believe I set the record for most members recruited in 1 semester, which was 60 last semester, right? And I believe that through my dedication with my other organizations, I can show that I can make this chapter much greater than this. Yeah, that's pretty much it for my speech. I think a lot of the things that a president needs to be able to do is react to different situations, so I'll wait for the questions.
All right, let's go, man.
So what are the pillars of SHPE?
Academic development, professional development, leadership development, outreach, and chapter development.
And which one do you believe needs most work?
Chapter development. So like I said, I think the biggest thing that I would do as president is reach out to other chapters. So one thing that I've seen, I guess to start out, when I joined SHPE, which was my second year, I actually didn't join SHPE my freshman year. I knew all the people in SHPE, but I said, I'll join next semester. I'll join next semester because I felt like, one, I'm not Hispanic, so that's one. I said, man, maybe I don't belong, but getting to know the people in SHPE, it felt more like a family to me, right? Through the mentorship program, meeting different people, all the new members especially, they're like kids to me, right? I love seeing them grow. Last year, I've seen all the, how many people are new members either this past year or last year? Right? How many did I TA in Promise, or were in Promise? Right, so I got to see these people grow, right? I think that's something important that we could have improved on this year, focusing more on member development. We did a lot of professional development and a lot of stuff, to go to our regional presence, but not a lot of actually developing our members and making sure that, hey, our members are happy. And that, in turn, that affects our regional image, right? If our chapter is healthy, if our chapter is happy, then we look better to the region. So I think that's why chapter development is the biggest thing for me.
Another question.
Yes, sir?
So you were president of Promise, right?
Yes, sir.
So you got to see all the other organizations and deal with them. So why SHPE and not any other organization?
I think, like I said, when I came in as a freshman, the one organization that really reached out to me and really connected with me was SHPE, right? So all the organizations, they have all their focuses and all. But being part of Promise, I got to experience all of them, right? Especially being president of the Promise Action Committee, I got to see how all the organizations operate, especially how the banquets work, how the officers work and stuff like that. But for me, SHPE was the most welcoming. I think for me, being part of a family and not just an organization is the most important thing. It's not, all of us here, we're not here today because, just because we want to improve on our academic skills or our professional skills. We're here because we enjoy being around these people, right? We enjoy being loved by these people and loving these people. So that's why I wanted to pursue SHPE instead.
You know this question's coming, but your GPA is 2.8. You're taking fluids.
Yes, sir.
Thermal.
Probably.
Design, materials. Are you ready?
So one of the biggest things that I like to mention is that my GPA actually hasn't changed in 4 semesters. Which is, it doesn't sound great, but I came in as a transfer, so I didn't have any core credits. But in these last 4 semesters, or 2 years, I haven't just been the president of the Promise Action Committee, right? So I'm also the chief technical officer of a startup company out of Red Labs. I had summer classes last semester. I did all the recruitment for SHPE as new member representative. I'm also officer for IEEE for the robotics team. I helped train all of our members in the VEX robotics team for safety purposes and all. New member rep. Again, I was at almost all the chairs events, especially last year during tailgate season, doing all the social events, all of that. So I've proven that I've been able to manage my time. And we got through junior year, as Arnold's been saying continuously to all the Meckies in here that are running. Junior year is pretty tough.
So do you think if you would have laid off a little on extreme socializing, you could have bumped that up?
Absolutely. I think one of the other things is I'm not graduating in the spring, I'm graduating in the fall. So I'm reducing my course load. So it's only going to be, next semester actually, since classes just came up, I actually changed my schedule. It's going to be fluids, machine design, numerical analysis, and that's actually it. So I'm actually not taking as many classes as it says on there. So by doing that, I'm able to focus more of my time on SHPE, more of my time on improving, other things. I think if I didn't join SHPE, my GPA probably wouldn't have been as great. I think one of the biggest things was my second semester I came in. This is before I joined SHPE, right? So I didn't join my SHPE until my sophomore year. I failed half my classes, right? But learning from that, I got involved with SHPE. I got to meet all these wonderful people and learn from them. So I think being part of SHPE has actually improved me academically as well as professionally. Whichever first.
Okay, so as you know, national sometimes, slacks a little bit with communication. So I'm gonna give you a scenario. Let's say it's one day before graduation and you still haven't gotten the senior graduation stoles. What is your action plan?
Right, so first of all, I think the biggest thing is, if you get to that point, you probably did something wrong along the way. But let's say you have last day, you don't have stoles, nationals isn't responding, right? And everybody's trying to graduate, right? So obviously you can't make anybody graduate any later. That's something that you can't do. But if you don't have the stoles, that's something that you have to deal with, right? So as a representative of the chapter, especially as president, which you're in charge of getting the stoles from nationals, right? It's your responsibility to take charge for that, And if they haven't received on time, then that's something you have to approach your members with. At the end of the day, if you can't get the stoles by the next day, which you probably won't, right? You're gonna have to own up to it and tell them that.
I'll let you borrow mine.
And looking for seniors who are willing to let you borrow theirs. That's why it's good to make friends, all right? Jonathan, can I borrow yours for graduation? Please.
All right, we have time for one more question from the audience.
Oh, Jonathan.
So you told us a lot about why you would be a good president, but what are some of the ideas that you're going to try and implement starting day one as soon as if you do end up going into office?
Right, so first of all, one thing that I think we've lost is our connection to other chapters, right? This is working especially well with regional representative, right? So we've lost a lot of our connections to other chapters for various reasons, just miscommunication, graduation, other types of things. First thing I would like to enforce, which is especially during the summer, is reaching out to all the different chapters within the region, especially the ones that we're especially close with. Texas A&M, UT, UTEP now. UTEP is also a very large chapter now. Getting in touch with these chapters and making sure that we're here for you guys. We're here to help you guys with events, and if you guys want to host events here, we're awesome. We're totally okay with that too. Another thing I want to push forward is something we've been working with as this part of this year's e-board, which is Full Steam Ahead. It's a completely new way of to look at our outreach program, right? So one of the biggest things we wanted to do was reach out to more SHPE junior chapters. So with Reagan High School, you guys could have noticed the decline in attendance from students, especially this semester. The idea that we had was reach out to different schools that express interest in SHPE Junior, East Early College High School, Challenge Early College High School, Chinky Pin, just to name a few. Those are all schools we've done SHPE Juniors and Noche de Census at. Reaching out to those schools and having them as our SHPE Junior chapters and doing outreach events there.
So, talking about SHPE Junior,
Right.
you mentioned that Reagan, as far as their students are decreasing
Right.
on attendance. So, you obviously see that there's a lack of experience or maybe something within that program isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you seek out to find somewhere else if you can't improve what you've been building up on these past couple of years?
Right, so we spent a lot of time at Reagan, right? It's at least the last 3 years, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right. One of the main things that as a president that I need to know is when to say, you know what, enough is enough. And if we're losing money on hosting events at a school that isn't responsive, then we need to move our interest elsewhere, right? If the members aren't coming out due to various reasons, this semester specifically was because of soccer and football season, right? The faculty advisor is the coach for the soccer team. That's why a lot of the kids don't come out. A lot of the officers for SHPE Junior are on the soccer team, right? And that's something that we can't work around. You know, we can't, at the end of the day, we can't really change our meetings on Fridays because that's when most of us are free, right, to go volunteer. And we can't change the school schedule, right? So if we reach out to schools that have shown interest that we really want to do these events, like we will make the time for SHPE to come out and do these events, then those are the schools we need to be targeting. The ones that are actually making the time for us to come out and, you know, make a difference.
Soccer season, football season, I mean, they're every school, every
Right.
district. So what happens when you keep running into this same problem?
I think the
Are
one
you
thing that we need to
jump
change,
ship every time?
not necessarily. So like I said, we've spent 3 years at least 3 years at Reagan, right? And this has been something that's been recurring. So we spent a long time, you know, just running back into the brick wall, right? We're having a drop in attendance every time, right? But then again, like I said, these schools are reaching out to us. We're not going out to them and saying, hey, we'd like to do it. They're reaching out to us and saying, hey, we would love SHPE to come out and host these events here. Those schools are willing to make the time, right? And one of the bigger things that we need to do is increase our demographic, right? If we're just targeting, let's say, people that, again, you don't have to target Hispanics particularly, right? For one, I'm probably the best example of that in the entire college, right? Looking for other members, you know, maybe people who are in chemistry club that don't play sports, right? We need, just how we're trying to attract members from different